and he was just being chill, giving a little bit, right? He wasn't turned towards her, all over her, like, hey, what's up? He gave her space. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Then I kind of lost track of watching them. I was just focused on my girl. So I turn around like, I don't know, a couple minutes later, they're fucking making out. And I was just like, when the fuck did that happen? Hey guys, Hector Castillo Poppy from girlchase.com. Today I want to discuss something very interesting. It's called pacing her emotions. Or in a non-romantic context, pacing his emotions. Or in a business context, right? So pacing someone's emotions is kind of like, if you want to understand what not to do, here's one example. Have you ever been in a bad mood and you are around someone who's just really happy? Now, sometimes them being in a really good mood kind of lifts you up. But a lot of times when someone is in a really good mood and you're in a bad mood, it kind of pisses you off. Now you could be like, why is this motherfucker smiling all the time? Why are they so loud? Why are they so energetic? I haven't had my fucking coffee yet. I haven't had my cigarette yet. I just fucking woke up. I've had a bad day and I don't want to be around this fucking sunshine. It just pisses, So you understand that someone could be in, for all intents and purposes, a good mood. And you're in a bad mood. And one would think that that should cheer you up, but very often it doesn't. And I've seen one example, it's kind of funny. I see girls sometimes complain. I just saw an Instagram post of when he tells you to smile, or when some random guy tells you to smile. And it's girls who complain, they're walking through life and, or they're at the bar and they're kind of, sour-faced or whatever. And some random guy's just like, hey, you should smile, or hey, cheer up. And that pisses her off, right? Now, the guy, might be a douche, or he might just have good intentions. He might just be trying to pick her up, whatever. But it pisses her off. That's the point here. And so that guy wasn't pacing her emotions, right? He came in thinking, oh, come on, baby, smile. And she saw it as fucking douchey because he doesn't understand she's in a fucking bad mood and she wants to be in a bad mood. Or maybe she's not in a bad mood, it's just her face. And by telling her to smile, he's implying that she needs to, what? You think I'm in a bad mood just because I'm not fucking smiling? Well, you're a fucking asshole or whatever, right? So it's an absurd example, but it's a reality for some people. And it shows that when people aren't pacing our emotions, whether it's passively or actively, we don't feel a connection with them. When you're sad and someone comes up, hey, what's up, buddy? You okay? Not so good. When someone comes up and they're like, hey, what's up? Now they're pacing your emotions, right? Or they sit down and they don't say anything. If you notice a friend's in a bad mood, if you just walk up and be like, hey, what's wrong? Hey, what's wrong? Or if you come up and you sit down, sit next to them. What's going on? When I've had friends do that, it seems like they're genuinely trying, right? They're sitting down, they're patient, and they just ask, hey, what's up? And I'm in a bad mood, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, right? It creates a bridge because they get me. They get my emotions. They're pacing my emotions. And so when you're socializing, and especially when you're dating women, you're on a date, you're texting with her. This is why a lot of times, actually, when you're texting girls, you want to keep kind of the same mood that they're showing. If they're not using a lot of emojis and you're using a lot of emojis, it might not even be that they think you're thirsty and you're chasing after them. It could just be like, this guy isn't vibing with my vibe, right? I'm a little bit more of a chill texter and he's over here sending 10 emojis. And so when you're matching them on texting or in conversation on a date, you want to pace their emotions. You want to keep up with them. Now, ideally where you want to take a seduction, because a seduction is more than just having a conversation. That's the vessel in which the seduction happens. But your goal is obviously to get intimate with each other. But you can't just jump to intimate right away unless they're already really aroused with you, right? So if you meet a girl in the club and she's super just thirsty as hell, you say hi, and she's like, hi, how are you? She's already excited about you and she's already aroused. Now, what pacing her emotions isn't, is she's like, hi, how are you? And you just go, oh, I'm good. How you doing? Or you try to play it cool, be like, I'm good. How are you? Right? it could work for a little bit, but if at some point you don't react to her emotions because she's like super thirsty and you're playing it cool, and then she gets more thirsty because maybe she wants to chase after you, and and then nothing. I've seen that happen where a girl is chasing after me, but I keep playing it cool, and then I never actually do something like grab her or kiss her or be like, hey, let's get out of here, or hey, let's go for a walk, or something like that. Because I didn't pace her emotion through my actions. I didn't match how she's feeling. And then she walked away. And then later, I like come up to her again and she's totally cold. 10 minutes ago, she was super thirsty and I didn't do anything. Well, that was the point. I didn't do anything. I didn't pace her emotion. If you walk up and you're the one who's like, hey, what's up, baby? You know, try to do the cool guy thing. And she's like, hello. What's your name? Clarissa. And you? Oh, I'm Hector. And you start talking. You can pull her out of that mood a little bit. It's possible. But it's much more effective if you were to walk up, be like, hey, what's your name? Clarissa. And you go, cool. Enjoy your night? Yeah, it's all right. Then you go into the seduction with that kind of mood, right? You drop down. You can tell she wasn't in that seductive mood. I saw this happen once. I was out with a friend and we were talking, and I just looked to my right and I just see this beautiful girl just looking at me. I'm like, all right, well, time to go. I said, come with me, because she had a friend next to her. So I walk up, I start talking to her. He starts talking to her friend. Now, when I'm talking to my girl, I look over and the friend is in a fucking terrible mood. Like, just, I'm not even talking bitch face. I'm talking she's just not in a good mood. And he keeps talking to her and she's just like, yeah, And as I was talking to my girl, and it was going well, because from the start, she was already interested. She had given me that look. I noticed that he kind of started to like shift his body language, like he kind of turned away from her, and he was just kind of talking to her like this, and like, oh, you know, very relaxed and very friendly, but he was still keeping up with her emotions, and he was just being chill, giving a little bit, right? He wasn't turned towards her, all over her, like, hey, what's up? He gave her space. Yeah, Then I kind of lost track of watching them. I was just focused on my girl. So I turn around like, I don't know, a couple minutes later, they're fucking making out. And I was just like, when the fuck did that happen? But then, you know, I put two and two together. But then later when we had left them, I started talking to him. I was like, so, you know, when did that happen? He's like, yeah, you know, when I first walked up, you were talking to your girl and everything was going well, and she was really closed off, and I just kept talking to her. I just stayed chill, and, you know, she started to warm up, and she started to talk to me more and become more excited. And then, you know, she was all over me, and then we just started making out, and I was like, okay, you paced her emotions properly. So whether you're meeting her at a bar, at a club, on a date, you're texting her on a dating app, what I want you to do is ask yourself what kind of mood she's in. What mood is she in right now? And that's exhibited through either in text, how many words she's using, the emojis she's using, what words she's using, if she's responding fast, blah, blah, blah. Or in person, you can see her facial expressions and her body language and her words, and start to ask yourself, okay, how is she feeling right now? Now, for most people, you'll get an intuitive feel for that, but some people might not have that sharp intuition to understand, or people who have Asperger's or on the autism spectrum, they're not going to be able to just feel that, right? So what you want to be looking for is usually open body language, excited talking, prolonged eye contact, very kind of slow talking like this. It's very seductive. Really excited eyes, popping eyes. Sometimes like giggly, nervous behavior is actually really good. So those are examples of when things are going well. She's asking a lot of questions, right? What's an example of bad is, in general, closed off body language. She's avoiding eye contact. She's talking very seldom. She's not talking very excited. She's not asking you a lot of questions. She's not expressive, kind of plastic. And so for the most part, closed is bad, open's good, right? There's some exceptions where there's girls who are really nervous and they're really shy. Because I've had that where I thought a girl wasn't interested at all. And then, I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go. And I remember one girl in particular, we were getting ice cream and she was just like, not giving that much. She's very like, And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go. And she's like, really? And I was like, oh shit. She was actually into me. Because she was, she didn't want me to leave. And then I looked back and I looked at her body language and I'm like, oh fuck, she was just nervous. And she's just shy. And also she was foreign. So she probably, she didn't speak that good of English. So there are some exceptions to this. But for the most part, it's pretty evident, open good, closed bad, active good, not active bad. Well, one more exception is if she was really, really engaged and then all of a sudden kind of just gets quiet. Usually that's a sign you want to try something, like invite her home. Because she's kind of just like, she was super excited and now she's just like, she wants something to happen. So in her mind, the idea to make something happen is actually because most girls aren't going to pull the trigger themselves, and some girls will, but most of them won't. She's going to kind of disengage in an effort to kind of communicate it's time to do something, right? It's kind of one that a lot of guys miss, and it seems a little bit counterintuitive, but it actually works a lot. But I digress. So for the most part, pay attention to the emotions that she's showing, and then make yourself show that same level, right? If you come into the date and I don't know, you're in a good mood and you're like, hey, what's up? How are you? Met her on Tinder. Nice to meet you. Or, you met her a couple days ago and you're like, hey, nice to see you again. And she's like, hey, nice to see you too. And just kind of, some girls too, they'll put on the act where they're like, a little bit classy, a little bit more reserved. Cool. Have your personality, obviously, right? If you're more playful, still be playful. But just like, dial it back like 10%, 15%, 20% maybe, right? And try to mirror the way that she's acting. You sit down to have the coffee and she's just kind of like laid back. She's looking around a lot. Okay, and do the same. Yeah, be a little bit more distracted. If she gets on her phone, I'll just be like, occasionally I'll call her out, I'll be like, hey, come on, you're on a date. And she'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I just was texting work, but you can, get distracted as well and kind of just keep that dance equal. And when you do that, it's mostly about just giving space. Because for whatever reason, she's not about it yet. There's something, she's on a date with you, so obviously to some extent she's interested. But there's something that she's not quite feeling, right? Give her that space to see that you understand that. And when you show a girl and you demonstrate to her that you understand where she's at emotionally, she's going to feel more comfortable with you because she feels like you understand her. And you're not totally on her all the time, right? So play that dance where if she's super into it, you want to pace her with those emotions. If she's not into it, you want to pull back and keep that equal distance. And then it slowly will usually get to this space. Now, if you're pacing a girl's emotions and she still won't jump to that level where she seems really excited and aroused, a lot of times actually it's kind of the case where the exception where she just has that personality. She might be really interested. She's just kind of more of a chill chick. And the way that she expresses her interest is a little bit more subtle. Like with some of the more businessy girls that I've dated, and that's just a general term, but understand. And they're very refined and like this. They're very careful with they don't get all they can, right? And usually once you start sleeping together, their more feminine side will come out. But they're very, probably because they had to adopt some masculine traits to succeed in their field. They'll have this personality and show interest very selectively, but you can see it in their eyes. And you can see it in, if she's normally like a stone and then she gives you a little bit, it's actually usually a high sign of interest. Because that small disparity in action is actually a huge sign because she's normally so this. And then you can start to work a little bit. Now, there are times where you can kind of pull her along with you. In order to make this work though, because there was one girl who fits that description and she was kind of like, and she had that very aloof kind of cold body language, very skeptical, you hear it in her tone. But what I did was, I remember when I first messaged her on Tinder too, I was like, you look like a sweetheart. And she's like, I don't know about that. And she totally looked like a bitch, to be completely honest. But what I meant by that is you look like a sweetheart because I know deep down you're really sweet. I know once I get past that wall, you're really sweet. And from the start though, she liked it because she was actually, she enjoyed the fact that I kind of saw past the act. And when we got on the date, she was very like, and I was just all over her. I was like, oh, you know, you got this act going on. And I kind of called her out for it. And I was just like talking and, you know, just being boisterous and my normal, like very extroverted self. And she was enjoying it. Like she was amused by by how opposite we were. But I didn't take her too seriously, right? But I still listened to her and I had a conversation with her, right? So we were building understanding. We just had a little bit difference in personality, or a lot difference. It was almost like my mood was so overwhelming, she couldn't help but be infected by it, right? So I know I gave the first example of when you're in a bad mood, someone's in a good mood and it pisses you off. But there are exceptions to where you're in a bad mood and someone is in such a good mood and they're so positive and sweet about it that you can't help but be infected by their positivity and their warmth. That is one way that you can go about it. But in order to pull that off, you have to have some charisma, right? And the people who are going to have that kind of personality, you probably already have it, and you kind of get what I'm saying. So for those people, you know, just be your crazy self, but then learn how to. You still need to dance with someone's emotions and pace their emotions, and just dial it back 15%. But you dialing it back 15% still looks like 100% to everyone else, right? But for a lot of guys who are a little bit more chill and a little bit more, I guess, normal, what you want to do is adapt more to the person that you're with and try to feel them out and try to dance with them. And when you start pacing, and not just seduction, right? This could be with friends, right? When you start pacing people's emotions, whether it's in business, friendships, dating, you're going to see that people start to relate to you better because they're going to feel like you get them. And when people feel like they are you get them, they're going to feel a connection with you because you're vibing with them. I don't really know how to explain it deeper than that, but yeah, you're vibing. So pace people's emotions, pace her emotions, and you're going to see that your seductions are going to get a lot more successful and a lot more fun and a lot more interesting. And you're going to be a lot more consistent. Because I know we would all want to jump immediately to the sex and to the flirty fun part, but sometimes you got to work up to it and you got to break the ice. So you break the ice and work up to the point where you guys are both excited about each other by pacing her emotions and then taking her to that point. Or if you have the type of personality, just go full steam ahead, dance a little bit, and then pull her with you. Go. Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you soon.